As I am a representative of Motorsport Australia, my opinions, views, and anything I may say is my personal representative view of it. I do not represent Motorsport Australia, Speedway Australia, Drift League, or any other motorsport clubs.
Yep.
I need to put that out there.
Disclaimer.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of rules actually with social media.
Yep.
Like one of the things is that if you're at the track doing your job, you can't be taking photos and posting it up on Facebook at the same time.
I'll do you the favour, and at the start of the podcast, you know, the little snippets at the start.
Thank you.
I'll cut that and put that right at the start.
That's perfect. I meant to do that right at the start.
Fine. That's fine.
So how long have you been here for?
We go. Cool. How long have I had this place? Well, 2020. So right smack bang started middle of height of COVID. The start of the financial year was the first day in their shop.
Right.
Do you know the history of how this started?
No.
This is probably an interesting. All right, Paul Giddings. I'll introduce you,
Absolutely.
and I'll tell you a story about Pokey's Mechanical. So Paul Giddings, I know from the drifting. Paul's the most enthusiastic official I have ever met in my life. To the point he won an award for Best Official of the Year for Drift League.
There we go.
Did you know that?
I didn't actually know that. Brody did say there was an award, but he didn't actually say what it was for. So, that's.
Sorry to break the news,
awesome.
Brody.
No.
Wow.
Oh, look, that's awesome.
Wow. Yeah,
there
you
wasn't
go.
expecting that.
Right at the start, Paul's asked me how long I've been here. So the story sort of starts off a bit obscure. I was actually working in Queensland. Me and my wife were travelling Australia, living in a school bus.
Yep.
And we still live in that school bus.
Yep.
In my sister's backyard. That's the sacrifice we're willing to make this business work. But if we had to pay rent or be paying off a mortgage, I couldn't afford to have grown this to what it is.
Yep.
So I started TikTok when I was working in Queensland for a mechanic, and just what am I going to call the channel? I'll just call it, my nickname's Pokey, last name Poke.
Yep.
Pokey's Mechanical.
Yep.
And I just started that, and I had the catchphrase, welcome back to Pokey's Mechanical, right at the start of every TikTok.
Yep.
Most people watching would know that. And then me and my wife had the intent we were going to be married down here in Tassie on a set date. We had our rings engraved, so it was like that's the date we had to have it on because the rings were engraved. Yep. Then COVID come along and ruined everything, sort of. So we were still working with the plan to come down to Tassie, but then COVID was in the height of it and it was really ramping up. And my sister's neighbour works on the Spirit, and they said they're going to be stopping people coming over. You better get down here or you're not going to get home for your own wedding. And they're not, like, it just wasn't going to pan out. So it was I had a plan of I was going to take 7 weeks off unpaid.
Yep.
We'd saved up enough. We were going to do a trip around the world for our honeymoon.
Yep.
And we were going to go down to Tassie, get married, and then bugger off and go. And we'd paid for all the tickets, paid for all the flights, couldn't leave the state, let alone the country when we got home. So we got back and we got put in lockdown for 14 days. And then, COVID sort of unravelled. There was no mechanic jobs going because there'd been people laid off. Everyone was sort of downscaling. Yep. And I'm like, well, I need work. I can't just twiddle my thumbs and do nothing and be on the dole because I'm not that kind of person. So I just put it out on TikTok because I'd grown it to about 40,000 people before I got here. Yep. Or as I got here, sort of thing. And then, it just took off of me just saying, I'm just going to do some work from my ute. I went and bought a ute. Yep. And just said, right, if I'm self-employed as a mechanic, I'll become an essential worker, so I'm allowed out of the house.
That's it.
And then, it just took off from there. I ended up getting a fair few sort of just service jobs in people's driveways, just doing mobile mechanic work, and then I needed a hoist. And I asked around my mates, one of my mates, Mark, that owns Novus Windscreens, said that his mate was working in this shed, but he wasn't using it. It was just basically filled with heaps of stuff, and there was a hoist. Yep. And I got hold of him, how much an hour to rent it, worked out a deal, and I bought a car in that I needed a hoist job for. A week later, I had 8 cars in the yard waiting for me to work on. So it just went bananas. Yep. And I just said to the bloke, I said, look, you're paying rent and you're not using it, you're not making any money out of it, this is costing you money.
Yep.
Like, can I just take over your lease? And you'd be out, and it was a hindrance to him. He was locked into a lease and he couldn't sort of get out of it. So I was his saviour in that way of like, he was just not really wanting to be doing what he was doing from here. He shut this down and then went back to truck driving. So then 5 years later, here we are. And I've done it all without taking a loan. It's all been built from profit of hard work and lots of hours. And
that's it's not many people can say that they can build their entire business up and they haven't had to get any financial.
Well, the only thing is just like your usual credit lines of Repco and Penrite, and
you can't run a mechanical business
and things like that. Like, we've never been ever behind on any single payment for any accounts. Like, we've never got you owe us this when you're paying us.
Reminders or anything.
No. So I'm very, very happy that I owe that. I can't take credit for that. That's my wife. Yeah. Oh, she's a gem.
We wouldn't be able to do these things without good partners, that's for sure. I'm very, very lucky that I have a very understanding partner there. That lets me have all the time away from home to actually go and do all these motorsport events.
I was actually wondering that. That was going to be one of my first questions. So I have only known you from the drifts from this year, from probably only round 2 onwards, I reckon. So that's only 3/4 of a year. And then I befriended you only after round 3 on Facebook. Thanks for that. Befriended you from round 3 on Facebook. And then I've noticed you're not just being at the drift. You're at every motorsport event. Like, you're at the Speedway. You're at Simmons. You're at Baskerville. You're flying over to the mainland doing things.
That was. I was very, very. I just turned 50. Which is a bit scary, but I was very fortunate that for my 50th, my daughter, my oldest daughter, I've got 3 daughters, hence the grey hair. She decided that for my 50th that take me over to the mainland and go see, I don't know if you know much about Speedway, but there's an event called the Classic. It's pretty much the Bathurst of Speedway.
What series of cars racing?
Sprint cars. That's mainly.
My dad was in the Speedway. He was Super Sedan. Street stock.
Street stock?
Super Sedan car. He didn't have that kind of coin.
No.
Street stock driver. He was. I think he was actually the oldest street stock driver in Australia there for a bit.
There you go. There's actually a lot of history in street stocks. But they took me over for that. We were spectating for that, which was an awesome experience. But pretty much if there's a motorsport event on in Tasmania, you'll probably see my ugly head there somewhere. Bit
so
silly.
How, like, I really, you're pretty much, I would say, like, I know you, but I don't know you. You're pretty much a stranger in a way. I know who you are, but I don't know you. As a person. So that's what
you're not alone there. I'll put that out there. You're not alone.
That's cool. But I think your energy at the track just is what attracted me to go, I need to hit him up and say, let's do this. So I'm gonna try, and I think I've got a couple of clips of you at the track that I'll just sort of clip in from the GoPro on the windscreen and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'll have to fish through all the footage and see what I've got.
I'm sure there'll be some out there.
When did you start being an official for motorsports?
Well, I got back in a little bit similar to your work story in that COVID kicked in, and basically I was working at a service station at the time, so I was classed as an essential worker. So I was allowed to go to and from work, which was great. But I had nothing to do outside of work. Like, it was literally home, work, home, and everybody's at home. So anyway, a really good friend of mine, Rick Burt, had a little Lancer up for sale. And I thought, that'd be perfect just for a fun, let's just build a fun track day car. I used to be in motorsport, mainly Speedway, in New South Wales, ACT, where I grew up. And then had a big, long break. Basically stopped when I was about 17. And didn't get back into it till about 2019. I come back into it. Just got this little car, just something to do, just stripped it out, put a cage in it. I've always loved circuit racing. Just started going to club days
Yep.
just doing club days, getting back into motorsport. And
so when you say club days, there's a few different types of those sort of things. What is the actual category that you'd be racing in?
What I'm hoping, this year we're just in the middle of upgrading the car, going up into improved production.
Right.
So,
what was it when you first started?
When I introductory was regularity and super sprints.
Right.
They were the two main categories I did.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And what I noticed going to these club days and then starting to go to the state rounds that were held is they're very, very short of officials.
Right.
It's one of the biggest banes of probably motorsport in Tasmania is that we have a very small community of officials.
Yep.
And they can't always make it to all the events. And I just noticed that a couple of times there was going to be a couple of events where it was going to be iffy if the event was going to go ahead because they didn't have enough officials.
Yep.
So what I did is I just basically got my officials license and then just started volunteering while driving.
Yep.
I'd go do a run, come back in and then help out wherever I could with the official side of things. And that just progressed. And it pretty much got to the point where I was literally running like dummy grid at circuit racing, and my family would bring the car to dummy grid for me to jump in to go do my run. I'd literally jump out of the car back at dummy grid and start directing all the cars for the next category. So it was just awesome. A vicious cycle.
Wow, you must I'm exhausted at the end of the day.
I tell you what, by Sunday night,
how do you keep up with that?
Sunday nights, it doesn't take me very long to crash out by the time I get home. I can assure you.
I'd be struggling to drive myself home. I'd be asleep in the passenger seat.
But
that was me.
I find though that, like with you guys, with the drifters, the energy that the drivers give off as well, and the enthusiasm that they're putting into what they're doing, you can't help but feed off that.
Yep.
And that gives me the energy to keep everything going smoothly and to hype you boys up a bit and really get you going. So I feed off you guys, and I'm guessing you guys sort of feed off what I do as well. So.
Massively. It's so refreshing. So like you get from the history, like I've been doing drifting for over 10 years, or not really been doing it for over 10 years. I've been around the drift scene for more than that. But from, all the years that I have done it, there's never been anyone at the start line that was as enthusiastic as you, but it was just so much more of, let's go. Yeah. Like it just gave you that boost to just really put in and awesome. Send it and throw it. So
that's
please, when you're on the start line, don't stop doing it.
Oh, no. It's almost become expected now across speedway, tarmac or drifting or anything else. I'm almost expected to be at that level now, which is, I love it. So that's fine by me. But it's, I guess also being a driver gives me the perspective of being, I know what it's like to be sitting in the car, strapped in, ready to go and wondering what's going on and getting a bit nervous or whatever, anything else. So I've got that in my head as well when I'm on the start line.
That definitely makes a big difference when you've got officials that know what it's like to be there and what you need to know.
Yes. Yeah, you don't need to know everything.
No.
But you just need to know, look, there's been a little hold up, we're going to get going in 5 minutes, just chill.
Exactly.
Instead of you just sitting there in your car going, what the hell's going on for the next 10 minutes?
If anyone's an official watching this, listen, please. That's awesome. So when will your car be back on track?
Hopefully round 3, which is, I think it's June, July this year. So hopefully round 3 will be its debut back on track.
So going from the category into upgrading it now, what's the upgrade? What's your change?
We've had to replace the roll cage.
What model Lancer is it, by the way?
It's a CE coupe,
Lancer,
so it's just a Lancer coupe front wheel drive. Nothing.
P-plate car from back in the day when I was.
Droid body kit. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Well, I couldn't get one with a droid body kit. Like, my daughter's
it wouldn't last 2 minutes at Baskerville.
My daughter's always gone like, what do you got this against droid body kits? I said, growing up in the 90s, every single Lancer you saw had a droid body kit on it, a Canon, sounded like crap, and you hated them. Yeah. It makes me cringe even to this day if I see a droid body kit. I loved
the Sex Spec era though.
Oh, Sex Spec was awesome, but just droid body kits.
Yeah. I was living on the mainland. That's what Tasmanians call Australia, the mainland. And I used to go to all the auto salons and Summonats and stuff. And you see it everywhere like that.
Yeah. No, Sec Spec was good fun, but just droid body kits for me on Lancers. No, sorry.
Didn't like them. They look like Transformers.
Oh, just horrible. Just not what you.
So, sorry. Back into what the upgrades are.
So basically, we've had to strip out. I had a half cage in it, AGI half cage. I've had to upgrade that to a full weld-in national spec cage.
Yep.
Luckily, a really good friend of mine, Will Twining. He works.
I know Will.
Yep. He welded up the cage for me.
Legend.
So
cool.
It's going to be a solid job. Just things like we've got to run control tyre, Yokohama spec tyre, suspension, engine, all that's free. So I've just had to do a few upgrades around that area as well.
Like
just
open slather, you can do whatever you want.
Pretty much, there's no sealed engines. They've actually, in IP, they've just introduced for this year that any factory car can be turbocharged.
Right. So you can throw a turbo
I can throw a snail on my car.
Wicked.
Yeah, that's definitely on the plans, but obviously that bumps you up into a different engine class because it's done on high capacity and
boost,
times and all the rest of it.
That's right.
But that is the eventual goal.
So have you ventured down the knowledge path of what you need to do in the internals for that and stuff? Yep.
Yes, that's why it's down the road.
Yep.
We'll definitely be looking at turbocharging the motor.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Just there's not very many front-wheel drive cars in IP.
Yep.
And I like being slightly different, as people who know me will definitely agree with. I don't always do the norm.
Yep.
I tend to do things just slightly left of centre. It's the old adage, if you can't win the race, win the crowd.
Yep.
So if you can put a show on for people, if you can be a little bit different, you'll stand out and you'll provide that little bit of entertainment. Because to me, that's the other thing. We're out there having fun and we've paid our money to go out there and race and do drifting or speedway. But you've also got people who have paid money to come and watch you.
That's right.
You got to put on a bit of a show for them. You got to keep it entertaining for them. And it's the same for you drivers when you're sitting there ready to go. You've paid your money, you've brought your gear, you've prepped all this effort into to having a crack.
Then your car only lasts 2 laps and you have to watch everything.
The amount of heartache you see,
it's
honestly.
Rough. It's rough.
You see guys like they're so fired up first thing in the morning as they're getting their cars off the trailer, they're high-fiving everybody. They get out there and the bloody thing does a diff on the first lap. You're just heartbroken for them. But then the other thing you see though, something like that happens.
5 gearboxes I did last round. Oh, sorry, 4 gearboxes. Fifth one's now in it.
But like I say though, that'll happen. You'll go through your 5 gearboxes, but you probably have 6 people helping you put them in and out. Or if you need a part, you just put a post up, and suddenly people are, yep, here you are, here's the part, or yep, I'll just duck home and grab this for you. The community spirit with motorsport, especially in Tasmania, is phenomenal.
It's different here than it is nearly anywhere else. We've got something very special down here.
We have.
It's cool.
Absolutely.
We've got something special to the point that even our awards night, one of the last drivers that came over from Victoria wanted to come back just to party with us.
No.
And he's like, I'm not missing out on hanging out with you dudes. It was cool. So
we had that when
that's good.
It's across all sorts. We've had that when supercars come down.
Yep.
I was crewing for Richard Monk. He does. He did do super utes.
Right.
He just asked for people in Tassie if anyone wanted a crew to give him a hand. Me and my
when you're saying crewing, you
like pit crew
on the tools,
on the tools in the pits, the whole deal.
Wow, I didn't know there was that sort of opportunity.
He tends to go around all the different tracks around Australia, and he'll put a post out saying, "I'm going to be at such and such. Does anyone want to help me crew? I'll provide you pit passes and T-shirt and all that sort of jazz," and gives you the whole chance of being in the pits, working on a car.
How do I get my hand in that?
Next time he's down, I'll hit you up. I'll let you know.
Yeah, man, Saul would love to do that.
Yeah, no, it's epic.
That'd be a cool
really
experience.
Well, we were carrying out repairs on his ute because he had a couple of whoopsies. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, my son-in-law's underneath, welding up right next to a plastic fuel tank that's been melted because the exhaust was blowing straight on it, and just mad stuff like that. 3 o'clock in the morning, you put the car back together to get it running for the morning, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But again, I've had so many mainlanders who come down here, whether it be speedway, tarmac, drifting, they can't believe the community spirit. And it's not just tarmac racing. It's
we've still got that friendly feel or friendly vibe of help your neighbour, help your mate out.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. Like,
on the track, you guys
live in
kill each other. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
On track, holy smoke. When that visor's coming down, you boys are on.
Yeah.
And there's no backing off. But
and
as soon as you...
when you're out there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No.
You got no friends when you're on the track.
No. No. That goes all out the window.
It's even better when you got some beef with someone and you get to be on their door.
Facebook can be great for building camaraderie, and it can also be great for building rivalry. Let's just put that out there. But
the Speedway guys seem to be the worst from what I can see.
There's
they get stuck in, don't they?
Yeah, we have. I do fire rescue for Speedway, and we've got a little. It's not really a rule, but basically, if two drivers want to go each other, we'll let them until one of them's on the ground.
Right.
As soon as one of them's on the ground, then we'll come in and pull them apart. But up until then, have at it, boys. Like we've had steering wheels thrown at us as they're trying to get out of the car to get at the driver, and helmets come flying out the top of it, and but I've seen that at circuit racing too, so yeah. But as I say though, but once you get back to the pits and then, I've broken this. What do you need?
Yeah.
Let's get our guys onto it, let's give you a hand. And then you'll be bashing doors the next lap you're out there, and having a go at it, which is something that I really, really enjoy about Tassie Motorsport.
Yep.
It really does have a good vibe. It really does.
It does, it definitely makes me, that's one thing I'm very proud about Tassie. There's, it's a thing that I struggle with the cold here, like, because I've lived all over Australia. I've lived in Darwin and anyone from here wants to call me a sook, go for it, that's fine, but I have arthritis in some of my joints that just plays up when it's cold, and I get miserable in the middle of winter here, but most of the year it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, look at today, it's a gorgeous day.
It's awesome. It's not too hot.
Nope.
But yeah, you can't be out in the sun too long without sunscreen. No matter what day it is, pretty much.
That's right. The mainlanders get caught with that too.
So, what's your favourite track in Tassie to drive?
Honestly, Baskerville.
Yep.
I consider almost my home track. I really, really enjoy Baskerville. Simmons is good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy Simmons. Baskerville to me though is a driver's track.
It's phenomenal.
It's got everything.
Yeah. When I went down to the Mighty Car Mods thing that they had.
Yes.
I went for a couple of hot laps in an MA61 Supra. That's my old drift car.
Yep.
Used to be one of those.
Yep.
And I would, for a really top end, high quality one, I would probably swap that for one.
Right. Yep.
That's how much I like them.
Yep.
Like, as ridiculous as that sounds, because everyone knows what these are.
Each to their own.
But there's just something about one of those cars. I'm going to have one when I'm like in my 50s. I'm going to buy one for sure.
Yep.
Like, once I've got myself a bit more financially set up, then that's the car that I want as a that's the little crown jewel that I have as a really nice car. Nice. But yeah, Baskerville. Man, the years of drifting there when it was that's the pinnacle of drifting for me.
I really do hope it comes back.
Have you seen it? Have you actually watched it? Yeah. So you were around Motorsport back then? Yeah, cool. So you probably had seen my car from back then.
It rings bells.
But you probably don't know it.
If you showed me a photo, I'd go, oh yeah, I know that car. Yeah.
Wait just a second. Hang on. I've got one right here.
Delving into the man cave. I'd still keep this. I wouldn't swap it. Oh, I do know that car too. Yep.
That was my original drift car. I might put up a clip or something for that.
I know that car.
Sit that there. Yeah,
that was rather infamous, that car.
Hey?
There was a bit of infamy in that car.
I think I was the first Toyota to put a Falcon motor in a Toyota, and sticking with the same recipe, but different generation. That used to be the ELEF XR6 engine.
Yes.
And yeah, I worked at my dad's scrapyard, and just put it together out of the scrap basically. Just pieces of different cars and all sorts of different things.
Would have done the job, and I'm sure I put a smile on your dial.
Oh yeah, it was a wild time.
I reckon. I mean, that's some fair angle there.
Oh yeah.
That's some
that
serious
was actually,
angle.
Me leading Nick Wedd and beating him in we qualified into the bottom group of, it had top 16 and bottom 16 sort of thing.
Yep.
And then, I actually won the bottom 16 and beat Nick Wedd in
nice.
that exact run there. That's what that photo is.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But no, basketball to me is just for such a small track. It's not a big track at all.
Yep.
But you've got so much going on. You've got S's, you've got hill climb, you've got a bit of a straight, you've got sweepers.
Yep.
And the other thing is it's in a big bowl. And the amphitheatre type feel.
The view from everywhere too. You can see, there's so many spots where you can see all the track.
Yep.
Like it's phenomenal what that place is.
Yep.
Someone had a really good vision with a really good imagination to be able to go, that's where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right on all the hills that it's on just makes it a driver's track.
Oh,
it's just
100%.
sick. Yeah, no, I agree.
100%.
Love it.
Yes.
I do want to take that round it.
Yep.
Yeah, I do want to put some sticky tyres on that and see what I can do, but my wife's like, no, it's worth too much money. And after seeing what happened to that Tirana when we were there last round, oh my God, it does scare me. Because that guy can drive, but he just unfortunately got a little bit too far into the grass and then into the wall and into the other wall and back into the other wall.
That's the problem with, it's not so much, it's not a problem, but like with everything, you get it right, it's a magical track, but if you get it wrong, that place bites.
Yeah.
It bites.
It's bitten a lot of people. Yeah.
You come off at certain corners, you are not getting out of it without damaging your car.
I'll tell you what, when you own it, you think you're the greatest driver ever.
Oh, of course.
When you get it right.
Oh, absolutely.
it's so good.
The feeling you get is just amazing. That's why, just Baskerville to me, I love Simmons, but Baskerville to me is a driver's track.
Yep.
You don't need a huge amount of horsepower or massive brakes or anything to be competitive at Baskerville. You just got to have a big set of nuts.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'm allowed to say.
No, you can say that.
But,
you can say that. You can swear. You can do whatever. That's fine. I want to get back into the topic of the official stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been a flaggy at the drifts before, but I'm not actually like a qualified official. You said you went and you did your ticket or whatever it was?
Yep, pretty much.
Talk us through how you do that, what it is.
Depending on the governing association, like you've got Motorsport Australia or AASA. I can never remember.
AASA, yep.
Yep, AASA. They will have, for their officials, like to become an official, basically you just do an online application,
right?
And it gives you a license to say that you can volunteer at their events and help out at base level, like flaggies, marshalling, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And then you can do further upgrades or courses, which will give you more qualifications to then help out actually run the event.
Right.
Or, be a fire marshal or help out on dummy grid, like the actual organising. Yep. So there's all different levels to officiating.
Yep.
And you just generally start off at an entry level. You get your bronze license and it's just
cool.
Because obviously everything's got paperwork. That way with your license you have a number, it goes onto record, they can say, oh yep, we had 15 officials at this event, we're legal to go to hold the event.
Right.
Because some events require a minimum of, say, 12 officials need to be present for it to go ahead.
Yep.
That's how I found out that by getting my license and putting my name down, that was helping out keep the event actually go. Yeah. Like proceed, because it was like, now we've got the legal amount of officials and we can actually carry on with the event now. So. Yep. But yeah, it's a progressive scale. You can just come in and be at base level and be there for 10 years, not a problem in the world. Yep. Or you can make your way all the way up and eventually, like a few people, including myself, with supercars. We're in charge of pit lane of the supercar event.
Yeah, sick.
So you're fully in charge of all the safety and going on, which is, it's amazing, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's cool.
You're literally this close to the top level drivers in Australia. Yeah. It brings me out goosebumps sometimes, to be perfect.
Yeah, that's cool. So the reason I am asking, and this goes back to a question I pulled you up on at the start when I was setting everything up, of, are you going to be ready for round 1?
Yeah.
I'm not doing drifting this year.
Right.
Just so everyone knows. So yeah, I've just taken the year off to get myself just a couple of other things that are not a bit more important than what drifting is. Drifting's not a priority, it's a luxury to have in your life and to be able to do it. And it's still going to be there after I get what else I need to get done.
Absolutely.
But the reason I'm asking is because I want to come and help out.
Yep.
Because I want it to still be there when I come back.
Yep.
And if I can help out and make it happen, and Saul said, yeah, I'll come along.
Absolutely.
So yeah. But the other side of it that I've just sort of thought of while we're talking is, it's probably a really good opportunity for me to get some really important drivers in a podcast. So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. You got the time.
That's probably a way in the door of being able to access those kind of people, which would be a cool thing. So, I might have to get some things in place and get on the Motorsport Australia and start.
See, like prime example, like with the drifting.
Yep.
That was literally just like there's Facebook groups. They'll have like Tasmanian Drift Officials group.
Right. Yep.
And
is that like a chat group or an actual page?
Yeah, it's a page, but it's also there's the messenger chat groups, and they'll post like Brody will post up in there. Okay, we've got an event coming up on such and such date. Anyone who's available, and you'll just put your name down and say, yep, look, I'm free. I'm here to help. Whatever you need doing, throw me a job. And you'll just rock up on the Saturday or the Friday or the Saturday, whenever the event is, and they'll literally allocate you, right, can you give us a hand doing this? Do you mind being at the hairpin doing the flags? We'll swap you out and do you. So you'll rotate throughout different jobs as well. It's not like, right, you're this and that's all you're going to do the whole time you're here. That generally doesn't happen.
Yeah,
so
cool.
There's a lot of variety in what you do as well, but it's not complicated to get into it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So I guess for young people that can't really afford to go racing, because it is expensive, you do need to be set up with all the safety gear and the car and the tyres and suspension, and it's like, it's not just buying a car and going to the track. No. It's a lot more than that people don't realise. And some people do turn up and then realise, far out, I am nowhere near where I thought I was going to be.
No.
They go and skid a few corners out of the streets and then come to the track and realise how much harder it actually is.
Completely different, another level.
That I'm just thinking, like, there might be some viewers that might be interested in doing that, or getting sort of like some kids that, say if parents are watching this and you've got a kid that's really keen around motorsport, what age can someone get into doing it?
Generally, minimum age is 16.
Yep.
That's I've got to put a bit of a disclaimer out that
for sure,
different categories, different organisations, like I say, Motorsport Australia or Speedway Australia, they will have slightly different rules for each group.
Yep.
But generally, the rule is that got to be 16.
Yep.
And if you're under the age of 18, you'll need to sign permission from your parents to say,
obviously,
you're allowed to do this, because motorsport is dangerous. But that's really, you don't have to have any sort of formal qualifications.
Yep.
Like I say, some categories, some organisations, you just got to do an online tick and flick sort of like survey question deal.
Yep.
And that gives you your licence.
Yep.
And then you can officially, but other groups are...
So to move up in the categories to where you're at, have you had to do other courses, or is it required for how much time you've put in at the track for other events or anything like that?
It all depends. Yeah, it depends on, like, drifting doesn't really have that side of things.
Yep.
I'm
talking like to be able to go and do a V8 Supercars.
Oh, V8 Supercars. Look, V8 Supercars, they'll put a thing out on a social media saying volunteers required, and you literally just sign up, and they'll get you an entry level position to help out. You could be crowd marshalling to start with, and then they may, while you're there, they may say, oh, while you're here this afternoon, do you mind helping out on pit lane or anything like that? What then tends to happen is you can do one or two of those without needing even an official license. If you're finding you're enjoying it and want to keep doing it, then it's suggested next time you come along, get your license and we can move you up into a different area and train. And you get a lot of track training. Like while you're at the track, you'll be paired up with someone who's very experienced in that particular role, and they'll run you through the whole day of what your role is, what your function is, what the schedules are, what happens when it goes wrong, what happens if it's a quiet day, that sort of thing. So you're not just sort of, here's a bunch of flags, go stand at the point, even though you probably don't really know what you're doing. That doesn't happen. You'll get paired up with someone who's experienced, who'll run you through everything. And even the next time you come along, if you're still not feeling too comfortable, it's not a problem to pair you up with someone. We try to make it fun and educational so that people come back. That's what we want. But to like for Supercars to start off with, no, you don't need to have signed up and done like a silver officials course or anything like that.
Right.
But if you want to move up and like I say, help with dummy grid or pit lane or up in the control tower or anything like that, you have to have certain levels, which come from track experience. They sign you off and say, yep, I've seen this guy in action, he's good, or he could do with a little bit more work in this area before we sign him off, or he needs a bit more experience. Not a problem. That's all put through. You get, like with drivers, you get a little logbook that you can take to events, and they'll sign you off to prove that you've done these events and what level you've done those events at. So there's progression as far as you want.
Yeah, cool.
You can start off at pardon my French, as a shit kicker, and work your way all the way up to being actually in the tower, working with scrutineering, with race control, running the event. So the progression levels, it's up to you.
Yeah, cool.
Totally up to you how much you want to be involved in it.
So on the back on to where you were saying where things can go wrong and you're an official. What's probably the biggest memorable incident that's happened near you in front of you?
Oh boy. Actually, that reminds me. Thank you very much, Pokey, for reminding. As I am a representative of Motorsport Australia, my opinions, views, and anything I may say is my personal representative view of it. I do not represent Motorsport Australia, Speedway Australia, Drift League, or any other motorsport clubs. I need to put that out there.
Disclaimer.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of rules actually with social media. Like one of the things is that if you're at the track doing your job, you can't be taking photos and posting it up on Facebook at the same time.
I'll do you the favour, and at the start of the podcast, you know, the little snippets at the start. I'll cut that and put that right at the start.
That's perfect. I meant to do that right at the start.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you for reminding me that.
So, are you allowed to talk about that? Is that something against the rules?
I can talk about. I can't.
Obviously, you can't talk about. I can't give you like car numbers, names, particular dates, what happened or anything like. V8 Commodore did something that.
Look, I've had everything from very, very massive offs, cars doing down the back straight of Simmons 260, 280, and they've come off and gone into the tyre barriers, and the car's barrel rolled almost into the sheep paddock. Yeah.
Wow.
I've had, I don't know if I was there when a certain race tech car that was just being rebuilt, actually just built, brand new purple one, ended up going backwards into tyre barriers. Yeah, those sorts of things. So that happens all the time. Speedway, I was there when Redpath had his massive accident and broke his back, and so things like that. I've had it where we've had.
I was there watching my dad when one of the sprint car went up over the fence.
Yes.
Cartwheeled. It just looked like a spider climbing up over the fence.
Yeah,
it was just insane how quick it happened.
Speedway accidents are phenomenal. They're brutal.
Yeah, it's just when they let go, it's just game over straight away.
And you've got concrete barriers and Armco fences, you know, it's not going to end well. But and I've had everything from drivers both deciding to go through pit lane at the same time, out pit exit, instead of one at a. But that was probably my fault. Anyway, that was actually pretty recent, so I might move on from that one. That was my fault.
Here.
Oh no.
Paul throws himself under the bus.
Yeah, where is the bus? Because I'll just get under it. No, that was actually my fault. That was we're human.
Yep.
You make mistakes,
Yep.
and I made a mistake, and both drivers decided to try and fit 2 cars into one lane, which, yeah, that was interesting to say the least. I've had drivers get very upset with each other, and I've also had drivers get out of their cars and they're high-fiving and hugging each other because it's just been a brilliant battle out on the track. So
There was some awesome photos of the XL racing of the last round, was it?
Korean supercars, yes.
Hey?
The Korean supercars.
Korean supercars.
That's what we call them.
One come up on the other side tyre and it was like 2 wheels on the main straight,
that's
on the
not
front
unusual.
straight?
Yep, not unusual.
Oh, that was chaos.
Oh,
That was hectic. I actually sponsor one of the drivers, Midgley.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yep, 79, yeah.
Does a bit of, just dyno his car and just give him a bit of oil and bits and
Yeah,
pieces.
no, he's a legend, absolute legend. Honestly, the XL category is one of probably the most entertaining categories to watch for tarmac racing.
Yep.
Always close. And it doesn't matter if it's the first 2 or the last 2. There are battles going on throughout the entire field. So there's always something to watch. Like, you don't have to just watch the first 5 guys and be entertained. Battles going on, and these boys
they
are not
fight for 20th place.
and they're not playing for plastic trophies. I tell you, there's sheep stations on the line some days for these boys, but very, very entertaining. But yeah, I've had everything from guys literally getting out and bear hugging each other to nearly swinging at each other, and beautiful cars getting absolutely destroyed. But luckily, tarmac-wise, I've had no major, touching wood, no major injuries with accidents. You see some of them and you're like, oh, this is not going to be good. Unfortunately, Speedway is very different. That's completely different kettle of fish when they have accidents there. They're always big and they're always brutal.
Yep.
It's
not common that it's just a minor one there.
Not very often.
Only in the sort of lower speed classes, but you get those super sedans and the...
I tell you what, even the juniors, we've had juniors barrel roll down the back straight.
I'm just saying that, you do get some more gentle accidents in the lower speed cars, but you still get the big ones in them too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My dad, oh God. I remember my dad, it nearly ended him doing Speedway. He had to reshell his car 3 rounds in a row. And it's like, you got to stop doing this, Dad. You're not going to live.
The Speedway guys are phenomenal for that too. They'll blow an engine, and then the next heat they're back out with a brand new engine in it, ready to rock and roll. You know? And it's like, this car was a smoking wreck half an hour ago. What? No worries. Let's go.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what, as from your official's point of view, what's your favourite series or event to actually get, like, what do you look forward to the most when it's like, right, that's coming up?
Oh, jeez. That's hard. That is really
I'm not going to be offended
one.
if it's not drifting either, because I do understand it's got its place. It's a weird sport. It's different to everything else, but it is.
I do get a lot of questions like, hey, what is drifting like? What's the story? What's the deal? How do you like it? They're all different.
Let's come back to that. I want to know what your answers are to people when they ask. But yeah, what's your favourite?
Look, honestly, I really, really, really enjoy state level circuit racing.
Yep.
Like I say, the XLs, they are brilliant to watch. But I will, and this isn't just because I'm on here now with you, but honestly, drifting is the amount of entertainment that you get for the amount of track time and the amount of entertainment that comes from that track time is right up there.
Right.
I honestly would go to watch you guys do drifting as much as I would want to go and see the supercars.
Wow.
To be perfectly honest, I probably find more entertainment from watching the drifting than I do if I'm actually at the supercars. But
that's a big call.
It is.
That's a big call, but I appreciate that.
No,
I'm sure a lot of the drifters will appreciate that too.
Well, honestly though, the show you guys put on,
and
the excitement level and the vibe of the whole event for the whole day, very, very tough to beat. I
haven't been to any circuit racing events, like actual proper race events, for a while. I've been to I think it was just a practice day kind of thing. It wasn't. It was just like a club day. It wasn't like an event, like a series thing. But I noticed when I was there was bugger all spectators, but compared to the drifting,
Yes.
the hill's packed.
Yes.
Is that a common thing with
Yes,
even with the big circuit racing stuff?
You tend to find state level circuit
Obviously
racing.
V8's just packed, but that's just because it's V8 Supercars.
I mean, obviously, your national events
thing.
like Supercars, Race Tasmania, the Trans Ams,
Yep.
TCR, all those, you do get the big crowds.
Yep, cool.
State level circuit racing, unfortunately, I don't quite. There's a lot of work going on to try and build the crowds back up. You used to be able to go to Baskerville and you would barely be able to get a car up on the hill.
Yeah, I went down to Baskerville for an event. This is more than 10 years ago now.
Yep.
God, time's flying. It'll be nearly 15 years ago. And I was like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like there was more watching that than there ever was going to the drifts back then.
Yep.
So that was a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure.
Unfortunately at the moment, like at Simmons Plains, just along the back straight, Thunder Alley there, you might get 12 cars.
Right.
You'll get a lot more people that will be in the pits walking through and everything else, but nothing like say with the drifting or anything like that. Drifting, you guys regularly pack out back of Simmons, the back straight there at Thunder Alley. There's cars all day there.
Yep.
There's people walking. It's a different vibe.
Yep.
Totally different vibe. A little bit more relaxed, like a little bit more casual, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Compared to sort of more the formal process of a circuit racing event.
It seems a bit more serious.
It's very structured, very on time. Let's get on with this. With drifting's a little bit more. We'll get going in a minute. It's cool. Yeah. We'll keep going. Everybody's having a good time. We'll just keep it rocking.
Yeah.
So it's completely different vibes.
Yeah.
But from an official's point of view, drifting's cool.
Yeah, cool.
It is really cool. And as I say, if you gave me a choice of, right, you can come to all the Drift League events or you can go to the supercar events, I would struggle. I'd probably have to take the Drift League events.
Wow.
To be perfectly honest. Like, from an official's point of view.
Well done, Brody, for what you're doing.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Like,
that's Brody Marr, for if anyone doesn't know what Drift League
absolute
is.
champion. Absolute champion. Doing so much for the sport down here. It is incredible.
Yeah, he's really, really pushing it, which is good.
The development of drifting down here is absolutely through the roof. Yeah. But yeah, just for vibes, just for the driver's attitude and on-track entertainment, drifting's pretty hard to beat.
Cool.
It is pretty hard to beat.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So back onto the question of when you have people that have no idea what drifting is and they ask you, what's this drifting thing you're going to, or you keep on posting on Facebook? What is it that people ask, and is it that what they're asking?
It's more like they don't really understand the concept behind what drifting actually is.
Yep.
Like, all they see are cars going out there and just blowing their tyres to bits. You know, basically, it's like, is it a Summonats type thing? And you're like, no, these guys are controlling a car right on the limit of control.
Yep.
Like a touch more.
You can say that. You can say that.
You got it. Oh, woke society. I don't know. I don't want you to get hate mail.
No.
But you just that touch more lock, and you're spinning out and off into the bush. You know, these guys are
wrecking ball joints and control arms, and
you've got motors that shouldn't be in certain cars and things like that, and. Yeah. They're dancing.
Grandpa's Cressida shouldn't make 500 horsepower.
No, and it shouldn't sound like what it does, blowing flames and blow-off valves and oh my God. But they just have a lot of trouble trying to understand, like, how do you score? Who wins the race type sort of deal.
Yep.
Rather than understand it's more about style. It's about car behaviour, car performance, car control.
Yep.
Hitting the right apex points to get the points. It's a lot of nuances that if it's not explained to you, you wouldn't have a clue.
From the very, just someone that doesn't know it, it's amusing. Like, if you're viewing this and never seen drifting and don't understand it, or you've seen it but you don't understand it, your view of what it actually is not what it is at all. Something that if you delve into it and go, I'm going to give this a little bit more interest now I've heard this, There's a lot of technicalities to, like, you're sideways, but you've got to not just get round the corner sideways. You've got to be as close to the car that you're following, that you're chasing, as well as be in a particular position where the judges want you to be on the track. Even if the car that you're following doesn't go there, you've still got to be in that clipping point, they call it. And from a driver's perspective, is hard. Like, for one, it's not just about trying to drive the car. It's about getting your car to be able to do it to start with. There's so much that goes into setting the car up.
It's not a stock car that you just buy out of
You can't just get a Falcon and go and do it. It won't do it. No. Like, you can't just weld the diff and think, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. Because there's guys out there, they're getting sideways and they've just got a standard AU Falcon with like a little bit of suspension mods. But their car doesn't actually get to the points of where it needs to be competitive. That's why they don't qualify. That is a massive battle before you even get anywhere near being competitive.
Yes.
And my problem is that car could do all those things. That car still, in a year of progress, still won't do what that car could do.
Yep.
I've got the knowledge of what I did to that car to make it do it, but I don't have that car to do it to. That chassis is completely different.
Absolutely.
I can't get that car to do it at all. I'm struggling. Like, I'm doing all right, but...
Oh, you're not shabby, mate.
I'm not
shabby.
I'm not qualifying, though. Like, I haven't qualified yet, and it comes down to, like, when I pull it off, I had to work for it.
Yeah.
Where that, I could nearly get around the track without touching the steering wheel. Like, it was all throttle and balance in the car. Like, it was just a little bit of tweak, off the throttle, back on the throttle, and it just went around the corner without touching the wheel. Like, it just would transition and do everything you wanted.
Absolutely.
But that was 5 years of development before I got there. But that was 5 years of not knowing how to build a car to get there. I made so many mistakes. Like, people were telling me, oh, you got to cut and shut your knuckles. I did it completely the opposite way. It's what you're supposed to. Like no word of a lie. This is how much I didn't know. And this is before you could talk to people on the internet like you can now and learn. There wasn't this information around. This is going back in early days. And people said, oh, you need to change the Ackerman. And I looked up what Ackerman was. I sort of knew what it was from when I did my apprenticeship, but I didn't really understand. And instead of cutting the knuckles and making the control arms went out that way, I went in further.
So you went the opposite of what you're supposed to.
Like your inner wheel would turn that much and your outside wheel is like literally like this. Like you're trying to go around the corner like that. And it just, instead of them both going together.
Which is what the point is. Yeah, that's handy. But
complete mistakes. But yeah.
That's what I find though, is that people, all they see is like they've just seen stuff on Facebook or on TV, and they just see a car that's going a bit sideways and it's just blowing smoke everywhere. They don't quite get the biggest thing I can say to somebody is, if you want to know what drifting's all about, go for a passenger ride. One passenger ride will change the way you think about drifting.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yep. I love taking passengers. I wish I'd had taken you last year.
I'll tell you what.
You're so flat out.
Just when you're seeing how much action the driver's putting into the car to get that control level is phenomenal. You tip your hat to them. The respect that these guys, their driving skill is phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. Like, I've been around circuit racing guys, all the rest of it, the skill levels are right up there. Honest to God, drifters, almost same par. Almost same par, if not more. Just throttle control.
I've seen a few over the years of people that were doing circuit racing and came to the track, and one person that had a very big ego embarrassed himself bad. I won't say his name, but I will afterwards. He had 800 horsepower Supra, same model as that.
Yep.
You'd know the car. Silver Supra, you know the person.
Yes.
Yeah, big power car.
Yeah.
And he went out there thinking he was just going to be the next Drift King. And I think he did 3 laps and packed up and went home.
Yeah. It's not street drifting. It's just the speed you guys are carrying in for your entries.
Yeah.
Is
I love
holy
doing that.
shit. Like
that car around the sweeper and then linking just over the hump and then into it. That's what you were saying to me like, at one of the rounds.
Yep.
I was doing it in that.
Yep.
And you're like, you are coming in way hotter than anyone else. And it's like, I've just done it so many times.
Yep.
It was just my thing. And it was like, just the entertainment was having passengers, because the passenger that has never been in your car before, I had, you'd probably know Matt Harvey's parents, Wayne and Helen.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I had one of the people that they sponsored, I think, in Targa. It was a driver for a Porsche GT3 race car, like full-on race car driver.
Yep.
And Wayne's gone, send it.
Yep.
And
Give it to him.
chucked him in the passenger seat. And it was start line on the back straight into the sweeper.
Yeah, yep.
And I've just like come in third gear and just well back from the corner, full, thrown it hard and backing it in. And he's just went grabbing everything. It was like having an octopus.
Where's the Jesus bar?
Yeah. And he didn't know what was going on to start with.
Lordy.
And then it was like, oh, we're still on the track.
Yeah.
And you feel the vibe of him just completely change.
Yeah.
But yeah, that completely changed and melted his brain of what you can do in a car.
Oh, absolutely.
He'd never experienced anything like it. It was
And that's
such a
why I
cool
say to
experience.
people, if you're even got a slight interest or even want to know what the deal is, get yourself in a passenger seat.
Yep.
You go out a couple of times in the passenger seat and you will be blown away by the skill that drifters have in what they do with their cars. And you'll get the perspective of, I can see what they're aiming to try and do now. So when I'm watching it, he made that clip point there, or no, he's a bit off there. It doesn't take very long to get enough knowledge to then start enjoying what you're seeing, rather than going, what the hell are these guys doing? Making a whole heap of noise and smoke. Like, what's the story with that? But once you see what they're aiming to do, the style that they're putting into it as well, each car, like, they all behave differently.
Yep.
Different drivers have different styles.
And that's part of the challenge too. When you've got to be on the door of someone that their car doesn't do what your car does,
Exactly.
it makes it a lot harder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I mean. There's just all these not little things, but factors involved in what you're watching.
Yep.
That once you get it explained to you, or once you sort of understand it, it's like a light switch. You're just like, now I get it. Now I know what they're doing. It's not just, they're just bagging it up as they're going around the sweeper, you know.
No. So you are comparing it to a level of motorsport that I didn't think would be compared to from your perspective. So I appreciate that. That's very honourable to be involved in something that's that level.
Yeah.
Would you ever have a crack at it?
I'd love to.
Will you though? That's not I'd love to. I'm asking, I know a lot of people would love to, but will you?
If I have a thing where I would not be able to go full noise, because it would definitely have to be someone else's car, because I don't have anything that's rear-wheel drive at the moment that I could try to do that sort of stuff. So having someone else's car, I would be like, I don't really want to send it, whereas I feel I'd really want to send it, sort of deal.
It has to be something you don't care about.
Yeah. I'd have to build something up to start off. I'd love to have a crack, because it looks so much fun.
Yeah.
Like the way you guys do the reverse hairpin. Oh, that looks. Being in the passenger seat going reversey at the hairpin.
Whose car were you?
The red AU. Has got the speed holes in the bumper bar. Oh lordy. See, this is my other downfall.
Remembering people's names?
Because I do so many events, so many cars, and honestly, like drivers, this is what I see of you.
Yeah.
Okay. When you come up to me and you haven't got your helmet or hat or gear on,
that's why we're
I have a bit of trouble remembering names, because all I see is this.
And we're older.
Yes.
A lot older than most of us.
You just see. So forgive me if you come up and talk to me and I don't remember your name. There's a lot of names.
I can't think of his name either. Was it Red AL or the EL?
Oh, it might have been the EL.
Is it
Red Rooster? Is it the Rooster? Red. Oh, Big Red.
Yeah, Big Red's the car.
Oh my lord.
I I feel so. I'm sorry. I'll remember
Yes,
your name
I'm
and
bad
throw
at
it in.
this.
Throw it in.
No,
I'll put it down.
phenomenal
I'll
at
put it
this.
down here.
Please do, because I'm phenomenal at forgetting people's names.
I know him too because he was in me. Like I was right next to. He borrowed tyres off me
Yep.
to take. It was actually probably taking
To
you.
the guys out, because
Yeah.
that's what happened. It was.
Yes.
That was the other thing, is that it was like,
why
right,
can't
we're
I?
going to take the
I need
officials.
Saul. Saul knows everyone's
isn't it?
names. He's awesome with names.
It's phenomenal.
I'm
I can
shocking.
forget- I can forget a name.
My
straight
biggest
away.
problem with being able to remember names is I've lived all over Australia. I've lived such an abstract life,
Yeah.
and I grew up here in Tassie, but then I joined the Navy at 17,
Yeah.
and I literally in the 6 years of being in the Navy, I got moved like 7 times to different states
Yep.
each time.
Yeah, not just
And you have
different
to-
suburbs.
You have to
you're in different
relearn people
states.
that are on that ship, and then people that are on that base that you're working with, and then people that are on that ship and that ship.
Yep.
And it's like by the time I'd finished in the Navy, I couldn't remember when I went to school with them.
Yeah.
Like it was only close people that I'd been to school with.
Yep.
Now it's like 30 years since I went to school, and I've got people going, "Oh yeah, we went to school together." I'm like,
Shit, did we?
"Did we?"
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, I feel really bad.
I'm glad
Sometimes.
phones weren't a thing back in my day.
Oh, God, I'm glad video phones weren't a thing when we were younger.
No.
I feel sorry for how much fun they don't get to have because they're too nervous about
I'd hate to grow up now. I really would. I wouldn't do half the things I have done. But,
Speaking of that sort of thing, what was your background of family and life and stuff of growing up? Where did your life start, and
well, I
where'd
was
you go to school
born
and stuff like that?
South Australia in Glenelg.
South Australian.
Yep. South
Right.
Australian.
I lived in Adelaide for 8 years.
Ah,
There you go.
no, I love South Australia. I am
Cool.
a South Australian.
Yep.
I love being a crow eater.
South Australia's got a special part in my heart as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
But Mum's family is 8th or 9th generation Tasmanian.
Yep.
Dad's originally English, moved over here. He was one of he was in the Navy. He was in the British Navy.
Yep.
His parents migrated to Australia, and he followed them. And I met my mum and followed from there. So family background is strongly military. Pretty
Right.
much all the males in our family have served, including myself.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm
Cool.
ex-Navy too. Ex-pusser.
All right. Well, we'll get to that. So, yeah.
Put it this way, I was a stoker.
Right.
Yeah.
So, born in Adelaide.
Yep.
When did you move to Tassie?
Well,
Or did you go to school in Adelaide?
Mum's family have always been here, so school holidays were always down here.
Yep.
Moved down here, and we ran a dairy farm out at Nabola, probably from the age of 4 or 5 through to about 10.
Right.
And then Dad always had work. He was an air traffic controller, that sort of thing. So he was constantly getting posted and moved around. So I've lived in every state, capital city, grew up. I think I went to something like 12 schools by the time I was in year 12.
We have a lot in common, man.
My handwriting is atrocious because everywhere state taught me differently on how to handwrite and things like that. And
I never put 2 and 2 together. That might be why I'm terrible at it too.
No, because like you go somewhere and they teach you how to do a P this way, and then the next state teaches you how to do it.
I had never even considered that.
Yep. Things like that, and how you're taught to do maths.
Yeah, I went to Railton Primary, Devonport Primary. I went to a primary school out at Ooze. Like I moved around all over the state when I was young. I'd never even.
If you think about it,
you've just opened my brain to something I'd not even thought back about. Righto, cool.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Yep.
So, military background. Yeah, I served.
Where'd you go to high school?
High school was actually in Brisbane and also the ACT.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
Christian Brothers, don't hold that against me. I was a private school boy, boarding school boy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Emotional damage is something that definitely can be associated with boarding school.
Yep.
Hazing, you think the military does hazing? Boarding school does hazing.
What do you mean by hazing? Sorry, I haven't heard that.
What do they call it now?
Excuse my lack of knowledge of
Like you
English.
Like you're going from grade 9 to grade 10,
Right.
the current grade 10s would come in with fire hoses and soak down the boarding room, or flower bomb, bullying and things like that. What hazing now? So boarding schools. So high school was Brisbane and the ACT. Straight from high school, I got accepted into the Navy before I finished year 12.
Yep.
Which was a major cock up on my behalf because I didn't give a shit about year 12 because I had career. So I bombed.
A lot of us didn't.
Yeah, I bombed my
Same.
schooling.
Year 11, same.
Yep.
Joined the Navy.
Yep, I was accepted before
So
midway
what
of the
age
year.
were you when you joined?
I just turned 18.
Yep.
Did just shy of 5 years. Got out because my parents divorced.
Yep.
So got out to help all that, and moved back to Tassie.
Right.
And then yeah, from there, met my daughter's mother, had my daughter. She's now 23, married, all set up in life. I have 2 stepdaughters. One's just turned 19 and the other one had her 16th birthday yesterday.
Cool.
So yeah, got a nice little family going on down here now.
Yep. They all live in Tassie still?
Yes.
Yep.
Luckily, very, very fortunate that my daughter married into a very motorsports fanatic family as well. Her husband and his family, they were all fire rescue speedway for years.
Right.
They've got family that actually drive.
Yep.
Plus also my son-in-law, his brother are now into circuit racing as well. They're part of my team and doing XL racing and IP racing as well, hopefully in the next couple of years.
Yep.
But yeah, that's basically my story there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Righto.
So, been around the blocks a fair few times.
What do you do for a crust?
Currently, I work at Tas Trucks just up the road here.
Right.
Yeah, just up the end there. I got, before that I was...
And what do you do? What's your job?
Diesel tech is probably the easiest way to put it.
Right.
So, heavy vehicle mechanic type work and plant machinery.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. When I got out, I swore I'd never work on diesels ever again.
Yep.
But I got an offer I couldn't say no to.
Yep.
So they got me back onto the tools just out at Tas Trucks with Troy Wood. I don't know if you know Troy. He's circuit racing and things like that.
Yeah, okay.
Ben Davey, XL Racing and things like that. There's none of those guys through there. But yeah, just up the road at Tas Trucks.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't know you were a mechanic on the tools. There you go.
Throw the spanners now.
Right.
Get back onto it.
So you know your way around the engine bay?
Yes.
Sweet. Got any tricks to get injectors out over there?
Slide hammer, but you said it won't fit.
Well,
so.
I don't know. I'll get you to have a look at it before you leave if you've got that kind of qualification, because I need that. That needs to go on the boat.
Oh, as soon as you said the injector's stuck, it was just
it's driving me up the wall.
They're not fun.
It's been hanging on that crane for 2 days with injector X from soaking it.
Yeah, well, like I say, we've actually scratch built a bodywork slide hammer,
right?
And we've actually we weld thread bolts onto it that you can screw into the injectors.
Yeah, right.
Use a slide hammer.
Yeah, I might have to do that because I've actually got a wheel nut socket goes onto where the injector pipe goes on.
Yep.
So that I could weld to that.
Yep.
If I mask up everything else, I might have to have a crack with that and see if it works.
Honestly, a lot of the time that's all we found that actually will work.
Yep.
Getting them, and you're pounding on it. Sorry, this is shop talk.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's all conversation.
Oh, absolutely. You'll find you'll beat on it too.
Yeah.
It's scary how much.
Oh yeah. I've got it so it will rotate.
Yep.
But with the
lift.
weight of the tyres off the ground, weight of the car with the tyres off the ground, it's not moving.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen it happen.
Any mechanic watching will know our pain. Right
Everybody's cringing at the moment that's ever had to deal with them.
You poor bugger, have to deal with that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so let's get on to you were a stoker in the Navy.
Yes.
That means you've got some cool stories. That means you've got some fun stories.
I got stories, but I don't know if I can legally repeat them in public.
Of course you can. I'll share. Like, where was your favourite? Did you go? Obviously, were posted to sea and went overseas and travelling.
Sarabaya is an interesting place.
Sarabaya. I couldn't even point to where that's on a map.
Bali, near Bali,
right,
Indonesia.
Yep. Indonesia.
They have. I've been. Been in Singapore, where the mayor of Singapore has actually come down to the ship and basically said he would prefer to have the entire 7th US fleet in and running amok than have one Australian ship come in and run amok.
I can believe that.
So,
I can believe that.
We've had a few of those, you know.
Yep.
I don't know if I should repeat. And one of the shore leaves, we have a few quiet beverages, and then you'll find that there's like, especially in Bali, anyone that's been to Bali will know these places. They'll have like markets where you can buy ducks, where you can buy chooks and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But they'll have duck races.
Right.
Like, so you'll buy your duck and they'll put it in like a greyhound chute.
Yep.
And then it'll run around the track.
Yep.
Got the duck. Put my money on number 5. That's my duck. Gates open. Duck takes 2 steps, dies.
What?
Just dies. Flat out. I don't know if it's the shock, the noise, whatever, it just dies.
Just had a heart attack.
So he goes, oh, here your duck, you'll buy your duck. So he's giving me a freaking dead duck. What am I doing? Put it around my neck, off to the next bar. He was my companion for the rest of the night.
Just carried around a dead duck for the night.
Might have got seriously inebriated and had to be on duty next morning.
Yep.
I've got to go back a little bit.
There's some rough days of being on duty on the weekends, isn't there?
Yes. You barely be able to get your eyes open, and you got to.
Got to make sure everything's running and sorted. Yeah.
I was. I should also refrain that. Also, I did cross train as radio operations, so I was doing radio operator. And the radio operator on a ship is a secure room.
Yep.
Like you cannot get into it. I was on duty in the radio room that morning. Still had the duck. I was very tired. Set the duck up on the desk. I laid down in the corner, locked the door. 3.5 hours later, they crowbarred the door open because I wasn't answering.
Oh.
No situation report to say where the ship was. Nothing had been sent out, but I said, the duck's in charge, talk to the duck.
How much did you get your ass kicked for that?
I was not at the same rank
Wow.
by the end of that little exercise, and
Wow.
the skipper didn't want me on that particular ship again. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, irresponsible.
Back in the bad wild days. Bad wild days.
Yeah.
Kids be responsible.
Back in the good days.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do it now. I would not want to do it now.
Not these day and age, but yeah, it's interesting. I've actually had a friend join the Navy, be 8 years ago, 7 years ago now. He was only in for 4 years, but him describing what his experience is now of what it's like to what we would have went through. What year did you join?
93, 92, 93.
Do you remember what your recruit school?
Moran Division.
What number?
2 something, 268, 265.
No, not if you're 93.
I'm trying to remember.
I joined in 94 and I was Waller Division 120.
Oh. Well, Cerberus had only just we were one of the first.
This is not
this
where
is going back.
No, this is not where I thought the podcast was going.
No.
This is fun.
Cerberus had just redone the recruit depot. So
Right.
just like,
Yep.
I think we were the 2nd or 3rd new division to go through it.
Right, yep.
Definitely
Yeah, it
Moran
was all
Division.
new buildings when I got there.
Moran
They weren't very
Division,
old.
Foxtrot fucking squad.
Yep.
I can even remember the squad.
Well, I don't remember that. God, that's stretching the brain.
I can even picture my instructor PO.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had some. I can't remember what his name was.
I haven't thought about that shit.
But he was one of the helicopter, not pilot, but like one of the crews.
Yeah.
One of the. I can't remember what their. Yeah, what their
aircraft
rank-
maintenance
Yeah.
crew. Yeah.
He was petty officer for one of them,
Yep. I had bosun's
and
mates.
he was a big bearded bloke. And
they all were.
terrifying.
They were shockers. PE
Especially
in the
when I was
mornings with them.
17 years old.
And you're doing PE at 4 o'clock in the morning before you're going to get scran at the
Yeah.
oh, yeah, no. Oh. Why are we thinking about this stuff?
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
I haven't
I've
thought
always
about that
said.
stuff for years.
I've always said the second best thing I ever did in my life was join the Navy.
Yes.
And the best thing I ever did was leave it.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Young, single, no commitments, no responsibilities.
awesome.
It is brilliant as a life.
Amazing
Absolutely
experience.
brilliant.
So I got
as soon
to go
as you get to
to-
a certain age or you get into a relationship,
Yep.
get out.
Yep.
Because you won't have a relationship for long.
Yeah. I got to travel the world. I got to see all of Australia.
Yep.
I went to amazing places, like pulled into Broome, pulled into Cairns, like did more weekends in Cairns than I think any other place that I thought I didn't know the Navy even went there. But yeah, I was on one of the, I was on the first mine hunter, the Huon class mine hunter. So
the new ones, Well, they new back then,
and that's just decommissioned actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So I missed out on going to the decommissioning, but yeah.
Oh, were you plank owner?
Sorry?
Were you a plank owner, like a original first crew?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Nice.
yeah, I was operating this, I couldn't get away.
Yeah.
I'm the only qualified mechanic, so I was still going through getting his ticket.
Yep.
So I can't leave him for days on end.
No.
Like I can, but that was that was a good time of life. I'm glad I did it.
I don't regret it.
No.
I'm paying for a lot of it now. Like the body's definitely copped a bit of a flogging.
How do you mean?
Back injuries.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
A bit. Yep.
And like I did a knee. It was like I just finished recruit school and just before I started category school, like class school, I blew my knee out and I'm paying for that now.
Yeah.
But if you're young, single, great wage. Like
I've got a funny story that I haven't really spoken about this, of something that's happened to me while I was in the Navy. I actually didn't know this. I used to be chronic for sleeping.
Yeah.
Like sleeping in bad. And I always thought it was just because I wasn't out partying and drinking and stuff like that. But even when I wasn't, I'd still sleep in and be late for morning
calls or whatever.
Yeah, whatever you had to get to.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I was on HMAS Canberra, the FFG back in the day, that we were at sea and I was off duty, but they had a toxic gas alarm.
Right.
And it was not an exercise.
Right.
It was a real deal. And they, and I was unconscious asleep in my bunk, and the toxic gas alarm was in my area.
Oh, your compartment.
And they've gone down, like people have gone down in Okabar looking to clear the room and find me in bed asleep, put the bag over my head with the thing strapped around, bottle on, drag me out of the bunk, carry me out, and I wake up halfway up the ladder.
Oh, lovely.
And I'm like, what's going on
here?
And
this isn't my rack.
And then I actually got diagnosed. I had sleep apnea really bad. And I've had an operation in my throat to actually help it, and it's fixed it. But I used to sleep something shocking. Like I went through one of the sleep test things where you go to a clinic and they go, righto, sleep for the night. And there was times in my sleep I wasn't breathing for 2.5 minutes at a time. So like over my night's sleep of someone resting for 8 hours, I would rest for 3 hours.
So
and then I was just constantly tired. And it completely changed my life. So I'm glad that happened. But the fact that was a real toxic gas incident of something that happened, I can't remember what the actual thing happened of what broke and released it. But it was a pretty scary time that could have killed me or could have made me sick or something. But yeah, that was an experience of waking up with a bag over your head and like, what the fuck? I'm starting to fight these guys.
Like, hang on,
and they're in Okabars holding me, trying to get me out of there, thinking I'm dead. Like,
they're probably carrying you out.
They're thinking
well, he's gone.
I'm done. Like
we'll get the toe tag.
They burst into tears after it. Like once I set me down, they were like, "Thank God you're not dead." But yeah, that was a weird memory, weird experience of something that happened. So yeah, I got straight away that day. You're off the ship. Too unsafe to be here if that's what you're going through. So yeah, got sorted out. And
it's like with people that sleepwalk. They can't. As soon as they find out you're a sleepwalker, you're out.
Yeah,
you can't.
It's too dangerous.
Way too dangerous.
No, that's funny. I was actually on HMAS Swan, the original back.
Wow.
DE.
Yeah.
I got my first sea posting was the decommissioning of HMAS Swan. So you can imagine what that was. It was just, like for anyone that doesn't know, for the Navy, a decommissioning trip is just a party. You're not doing exercises. You're not doing war exercises. No. You're not doing you do a couple of fire exercises here and there, but It was so laid back. Yep. I was like, if this is what the Navy is, this is sick. I got put on HMAS Canberra after that. It was like, fuck.
Yeah, no.
This is horrible.
Can I go back to the old DDG, please? I prefer that over this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I can't believe we've actually got that in common.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's entertaining. I couldn't have done a stoker job, I don't think, though. So I joined as a steward and then was working as partly on the mine hunters as a cook, helping out because they only had 2 cooks.
Yep.
And then I did my ship's diver course while I was on the mine.
Oh, bubbly. Yep.
So yeah, that's where I actually got really, really elite fit when I was in the Navy.
Oh, I was going to say, if you're doing not clearance diving, but ship's diving is that's up there.
I've recently started trying to get my fitness back, and I'm actually really happy because I used to be able to do 50 push-ups without a stop.
Yep.
I got to the point I could do 100. That was my record. Was in one go, and that was while I was doing that course. And only yesterday I just pulled off 45 without a break.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pretty happy.
That's good progress, mate.
Yeah.
Bloody oath.
Started doing working out and stuff about 2.5 months ago.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm actually feeling like maybe I can actually get this back to, not obviously I won't be anything I used to run 16 Ks every 2 days in the Navy.
We're not 21 anymore, that's for sure.
Now I'm not going to be able to pull that off.
No.
Getting some back is actually a really good feeling of being able to
It makes you feel better too. Like if your fitness levels are up there, you can handle work better, you can handle stress better. It's just all around better for you.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And also, especially for circuit racing, it's also the easiest horsepower you can find is if you trim up a little bit and get yourself at a certain weight.
That's part of it was when I started back in the drifting, I'm like, far out. My reaction time is way, like, compared to what I was when I was 30 when I was doing it, or 31.
Yep.
When I first started getting into drifting. So, I was old when I started, all the young fellas. But my actual agility and speed of reaction was terrible compared to what it used to be. So I'm like, that was part of my motivation in getting fit again. So I'm keen to get my reaction times back up and start, being able to drive better.
It all helps. All motor skills, it all relates back down to the driving as well.
So let's get back into the motorsport and driving.
Yes.
That's what the sort of podcast is around.
It certainly is.
And we've gone fucking way left of field there. But that was
that
fun.
way.
That was
we'll
good.
go that
I'm
way.
glad we got to know each other a bit more on that way.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's your, have you got any accolades or any memorable moments from your own driving? Like what's your sort of, any wins or
Probably the biggest highlight is that my team, which was myself, son-in-law, daughter, and her brother-in-law, we did a 6-hour endurance race at Symmons Plains, and we won that.
Right.
And that was
what car?
That was in the Lancer.
That was in your Lancer.
Yep, that was in the Lancer, and my son-in-law was actually. It came 6 hours is regularity endurance race, so you've got to nominate a lap time. And you've got to try and get within 1 second of that lap time every lap.
Yep.
If you're within a second of that lap time, you get 5 points. If you're not within 5 seconds of that, within a second of that lap time, you don't get any points.
Right.
So
you've got to be on the ball of how fast you're going every
lap, every single lap. So it's a fine and. 6-hour enduro, you can't be going absolutely balls to the wall because you'll run out of pads, you'll run out of brakes, you'll run out of tyres.
Yeah.
You've got to do refuel stops, driver changes, so you've got to factor everything into it all.
So it's not about who's the fastest, it's about who's the most consistent.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah. When do they hold them? That sounds like a lot of fun.
There's basically 3 regularity endurance events a year.
Yep.
Generally, they have 2 at Baskerville and 1 at Symmons.
Right.
Midway through the year and towards the end of the year is when they tend to have them.
Yep.
It's almost a mini endurance championship as well.
Right.
It's grassroots level. It is meant to be that the purchase price of the car is not meant to be more than $1,500. Sorry, $1,000.
So it's just like the Basketball 1000?
Yep, that's exactly.
I didn't know they did it at Symmons as well.
Yep, Symmons 6-hour.
Right.
Yep. It's exactly the same format that you have a car no more than $1,000 purchase price.
That's a struggle now, though.
I think they're a little bit of leeway in it.
They'd have to be lean.
But obviously they don't want you going out and buying like a Porsche GT3
No.
and coming down and racing that. No limit on safety upgrades. You can put a cage in it, you can put seats in it, harnesses, strip it out, whatever you like. No chop springs, but you can put coilovers in it. You can upgrade the brakes, that sort of deal.
Yep.
But it is meant to be fun for family and friends to be getting in.
Yep.
And that's actually how certain members of my family actually got involved in motorsport, is they participated in a couple of these, had so much fun, went out and bought cars and built race cars.
Yeah, cool.
But that's probably one of my highest achievements. And fix them. Yeah, welcome to motorsport. But winning that with the family was probably the most enjoyable highlight as a driver.
That's quite an accomplishment as a family group to do. That's a cool thing to have.
Yeah, it was. Yep. And it was something like we've done. Oh, sugar or nearly. We've probably done that. Car's probably done 10 of those endurance events.
Yep.
Because a friend of mine, they used to do it like they'd have on a Saturday and Sunday, and they'd have 2 lots because they'd have so many people enter. So you'd have 30 people do it on the Saturday, and then another 30 people would do it on the Sunday.
Right.
Really good friend of mine on the Sunday, his car broke after 2 laps.
Yep.
And my car was sitting there. It had just done the day before, 6-hour enduro. I just threw him the keys and said, take it, thrash the button. So the car's done more endurance races than I have. And I reckon we, as a group, had probably had 5 cracks. And I don't think we'd finished any better than, I think we got into the top 10 once.
Yep.
So to win it after all those attempts, it was a really memorable moment. So, definitely one of the highlights.
So I don't know, do you know who, you'd have to know who Andrew Long is?
Yes.
Yeah, so he does the dyno tuning here with us, works with us. Him, myself and Sol have been talking about it, and we've not pulled the trigger on it yet, but something in the works has recently happened. I don't want to, I'll say it, but this isn't a guarantee that we're going to do it, only because I don't like saying I'm going to do something and then not do it. I'm not that kind of person. I do stuff that I say I'm going to do. So if I'm putting it out there, it might have a higher chance. But my wife wants a new car, and the Beetle is a turbocharged diesel.
Yep.
And that thing hooks.
Yep.
That thing goes all right.
Yep.
And it's pretty reliable.
Yep.
It handles pretty well because it's got a really low centre of gravity. I'm thinking that might have to be the car.
I'll tell you what, that'll be...
If she's getting the car that we're talking about buying, that's going to be, then we can do whatever we want with. And she said we could possibly use it for hill climbs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it'd be a fun car because it's got a lot of torque.
Yep.
And I can squeeze a little tune into it. So
make it interesting, make it fun.
Yeah, might have to get it out there. I might
highly recommend it.
Though, yes, I know how much of a difference that would make.
Get some suspension
and get some good brake pads.
Make it safe and make it fun. But I cannot recommend the Barsky 1000 and the Simmer 6 Hour.
Yep.
As a basic entry, have fun.
Is it expensive or not?
No. Honestly. For your entry fee.
ASA or
No, MA, Motorsport Australia.
Yep.
All the regs it's all safety based. It's not, and it's not. You need to have X number of horsepower to be competitive. It's not that at all. It's all safety based stuff. The entry fee, you're looking at. You need a minimum of 3 drivers, and it's roughly. I think entry fee was around about the $400 mark for the team.
Yep.
And that's all day. All day you're racing. For 6 hours, your car's out on track running around. So that's pretty good value for money, especially for circuit racing.
Yep.
As I say, just as a fun event, and especially if you've got people who, like friends and family, you can get them so involved in it. Because you need people who are timers, people who help with the refueling, all that sort of thing, so you can actually get your whole...
So how do you know that you're keeping to that time? Have you got tricks to...
Okay.
Or you're gonna be letting out some family secrets here that you can't reveal?
No, there's.
So are there rules about what you can and can't do? You're allowed to have a
Yes.
clock in the car,
You
or
cannot have any form.
right? I didn't think so.
You're not allowed to have any form of communication with the driver. You're not allowed to have any form of timing device. You can't even have like a Apple smartwatch,
Right.
because that can come up with messages from like
Yeah.
TVs on. What you are allowed is on the pit wall, as you come across the start-finish line, your team is allowed to show you what your lap time for the previous lap was.
Not. Yeah. Obviously, they can't show the
they
one
can't
you're
show
on.
you because it's predictive lap.
Yeah.
So teams will have an arrow to say you need to speed up a little bit, like pointing up, or you need to slow down a bit, pointing down, or
Right.
sideways, you're right on it, or they'll actually have the time. So it gives to the driver an indication of, oh, yep, I'm on the money, or oh, no, I need to speed up a bit, or
So
slow
how
down
do
a
they
bit.
find out what time you've ran to the clock, or are they just
What happens
on a
is
stopwatch?
you can either do it via stopwatch.
Right.
So you manually pick a point
Yep.
on the track that when the driver comes past, that's where you're hitting it, or NatSoft, which is a timing program.
Like an app or website
Yeah,
thing.
it comes up. You can use it via your phone. That's
Yeah,
what
cool.
the official timing's
Obviously
done
not allowed to
via.
have that taped to your dash.
Can't
or
have
that live.
You can't have
That's what I'll be like.
and trust me, like
There'd be people that would try, wouldn't there?
oh, there's all sorts of fun and games. It's like any form of motorsport. Unless it's specifically stated in the rule book, it's
Yeah.
going to get tried,
Yeah.
and then it'll be.
Yeah.
Well, like when we won it, we were investigated 3 times. We had 3 different official complaints put in against us.
Oh, that's so rough. Yeah,
So-
right. It's motorsport though. It is what
You
it
tend
is.
to find it gets super serious at the top end of
Yeah.
like your top 5. That's when it gets really competitive.
Just so you know, on YouTube, if you swear in the first 10 minutes, it'll pick it up. After that, doesn't look for it.
No, I think
So
we're safe
good.
there.
I think we were literally safe. I don't know how long we've been going.
I'm
but
shocking.
I haven't had any of the cameras turned off yet, so we're still all right.
I tend to, as people who know me, I do tend to swear quite a lot. It's just who I am. It's
Don't know
not
what you're
meant to be.
fucking talking
Yeah. I'm fucking shocking for it, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's the Navy.
Oh,
It definitely didn't help. Did it?
No. It's but it's so descriptive. It's so descriptive.
Oh, it's being
adds so
Australian.
much to a sentence, but
Being Australian.
yes,
is what it
absolutely.
is. Like, yeah.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
no, I highly recommend, man. If
Alright.
if you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
just do it.
I've been thinking about it.
Just
We've been
do
talking about it for over a year now.
Oh,
And it's
no, you
we're
gotta do
just- Yeah. We've been like, I guess drifting was the passion, so sort of money went into that.
Yep.
This thing here has cost me a fortune and just keeps costing money.
If it's got tits or wheels, it's going to cost you money.
Yeah, like I can't help myself but want to make things go faster.
Absolutely.
And having that just makes you want to spend money and try things.
Absolutely.
Having the dyno is what I'm pointing at there. So yeah, it just comes down to where you're prioritising what funds you've got as spare money, and at the moment, the world economy is not real great, so
no.
a lot of people aren't spending money on servicing cars and things like that. So it's a bit of a different ball game that we're having to play to keep business
Sure is.
afloat and keep successful. But we're working it out and getting there. So hopefully we might be able to make it this year and do one. But yeah, that's why the drifting is on the back burner, because we need to invest money into other things that are going to be fruitful for our future.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can't just mosey on and be working on the tools forever.
No. So you got to find that balance of, you got to work to pay for everything, but you've also got to
Yep.
you got to have your fun times, but you can't then have your fun times absorb all your money from your work.
That's right.
And then your family start going, hey, how about us? You know, it's fun and games. It is fun and games.
It is indeed. Cool.
But,
All right. So you're going to do the endurance race again this year?
We're building up because my car's
'cause your car's
going up
falling apart, yeah.
into improved production. It's not really built now to do endurance racing.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how it go, but I don't think it'd make it all the way. So we're actually building up another Lancer.
Yep.
A lot of my old stuff that I pulled out of the car, because I can't use it anymore, is going to go into this one, and we're going to make that the family endurance car.
Yep.
Because we have such a good time doing it. Everybody involved. We have family that come down just to help, like do pit crew duties or just to come and sit in the pits and see what's going on, and they really enjoy it too. And they're always like, oh, when are you doing the next one? When's the next one on? We'll come along and watch, and it just gets so much involvement from the family, which sometimes is really difficult with motorsport, especially when you're an official, because you're over there.
Yeah.
Your family's over there. You're not even able to hang out. Whereas as a driver, at least you can hang out in between races and stuff like that. Yep. So I am very, very lucky that my family allow me to this time away.
That's something I'd like to touch on, because a lot of people have that family commitment feel of like, oh, you're always doing this, you're always doing that. Do you get that at home much?
I wouldn't say a lot.
How do you balance this? Because that's a delicate act. Honestly, like if someone's got a hobby that takes up a lot of time and you don't spend quality time with someone because you're always doing this other thing, how do you balance that? Have you got any advice for people that want to do more but they have that kind of thing going on?
Yeah, look, I don't have it perfected by any stretch of the imagination, because I'll do stuff all weekend with motorsport, and then I'll be out in the shed or in the carport working on the race car at night after work or things like that. You really do have to balance it. We have in circuit racing, there's pretty much a 3-month break in the middle of the year where there's no racing at all. There's no supercars, there's no state rounds or anything. So in that 3 months, that's where I'm at home, spend it with the family. If we're going somewhere, go with them and all that. But you just planning out your calendar, the year, as soon as the calendar comes out with the events, getting them onto the calendar so that your family knows what's going on, and you can say, look, I'm really have to be at this one. Otherwise it's not going to happen. Or it's like, okay, this event, I know they'll have enough officials and things like that, I can probably skip it. Like March, just an example, March, I don't have a single weekend free in March.
Right.
There's speedway, circuit racing, drifting.
So you've got Saturday and Sunday for
a lot of that. There's only one weekend where it's only the Saturday, which is speedway.
Right.
That's in the middle of the week. But so that whole month I'm busy every weekend, and to finish it off at the end of that month, the Saturday, the 29th, drifting, round 1.
Yep.
Latrobe Speedway that night.
Yep.
And then Baskerville, round 1 on Sunday.
Wow.
So that's what I mean. So that's travelling from home.
You turn up to work Monday? Like, as much as we're talking about the family.
Hi, boss. He doesn't know that I got all that on that weekend.
But like that's a family strain. But then your energy that you put out at the drifts is then put out at the track at Latrobe.
Yep.
And then you've got a lot of energy at Baskerville.
Yep.
Plus the driving all over the state to do that. Where's the speedway? Is that
Speedway's at Latrobe. So I'll go from Simmons. I'll go to Latrobe.
Your
and then
base,
Latrobe.
we'll say Burnie Way.
Yep.
I won't say exactly where you live. And then you've got to drive to Simmons.
Yep.
And then you've got to drive to Latrobe.
Yep.
Then home that night to sleep. Oh, you don't go home?
No, I'll go because of the time constraints, I'll finish up at Speedway at Latrobe around about midnight.
Yep.
I'll drive then to Baskerville that night.
So you won't get to Baskerville till 3 in the morning?
3, 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah. And then I'll rack out in the Amarok. I'll crash out in the Amarok for a couple of hours and then spend the day doing officiating and then drive home that night.
You are mad.
Yeah, 100%. Certifiable. And then if you actually look at my schedule,
and then
it's
you do it
insane.
the next week?
Yeah. And then I'll go to work Monday.
I was actually like, when I hit him up, I'm like, far out. I want to hit him up now because I'm probably not going to get a chance to talk to him. So I hit him up Tuesday, was it? Yeah. And I thought, I'll hit him up now, and there might be some time on a weekend I'll have him available. But he's like, I said, I don't work Fridays. He's like, oh, perfect. I've got an RDO Friday. That's my day off.
Yeah.
So
worked out beautifully.
Worked out just straight up.
Absolutely.
So I'm lucky to actually have a chance to talk to you that you had an RDO, because otherwise...
Oh, she's flat out.
That is chaos.
Yep. And then I'll drive back
I
Sunday
think I'd
night.
be single. I don't think I could get away with that.
I have to say that my partner is an angel and her understanding.
Geez, you must have to do some serious sucking up.
I do. I must admit, I do owe her a good week away somewhere.
Yeah.
At least, I really do. No, she is amazing in that she lets me do these sorts of things.
Yeah. But obviously it's your passion, as you can see, that makes you happy. So
I find I need
someone
it.
that is on board with what you want, which is that's important.
She sees how much effort and everything I put into it and how much joy I get from it.
Yep.
And she supports me 100% with it.
So it is rewarding for you. So that's good.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's I find in the off seasons, like at the end of the year, we get a couple of months where there's nothing on. I am absolutely frothing to get back to the track and get back into motorsport. I miss it. Yep. I miss the people. I miss the action, the atmosphere, the whole shebang.
Yeah, the community is the big part. I think that. Absolutely. I didn't realise when I hadn't been to the drifts for a while because I actually went over to Calder Park and rode my drift car off.
Oh,
and
shit.
like completely bananaed it. I drove it there too. Like, I didn't drive it to the track. I drove it onto the boat.
Right.
And got a trailer from the boat.
Yep.
And then got a trailer back to the boat and had to drive it. So I left on the boat, and the security guards that are or the people on the boat seen it, and it was loud and obnoxious, and it was like, wow, look at this big bright red shiny car and big wing on it and everything. Come back, the wing had smashed off the back, and the car's just crooked, and it's like driving onto the boat. It was stuff.
Oh no!
And it's like one of the guys that seen it coming over, he goes, "So you had a good time, then?"
Got your money's worth.
Yeah.
Got your money's worth.
Yeah, that's a hectic schedule, man.
That's just March. That's just March.
Wow. Yeah. That's chaos.
It is.
So I think we've pretty much covered enough for now.
Oh, it's been awesome.
I have really enjoyed this. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, mate. No, thank you very much for the invite, by the way. I was, like you shot me a message on Tuesday, and I'm like, shit, why not?
Well, I figured you're a pretty colourful character, and you'd go to a lot of motorsport stuff, so you've probably got a fair few stories and a lot of insight and a lot of information and knowledge and stuff like that. So yeah, I appreciate your time and
my pleasure,
really enjoyed it. Thank you.
My pleasure. And you guys, you've done an awesome job, and I wish you all the best for the future too, buddy.
No worries. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
But yeah, I'd like to touch base with you and have another one in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
When your car's back on the track and
that'd be
stuff
sick.
like that.
Yeah. No, I'd love to bring it down.
Yeah.
Yep. Might have to do a power run, see if I can get up on the board. Not.
We'll see.
Maybe once it's got the turbo on it, we might have a bit more of a shot.
Turbo and E85.
Oh, yeah. Now you're talking the dream.
We'll get Longy to tune it up for you.
Oh, now you're talking the dream.
Might have to, off camera, talk about what we can sort out with you.
I'm always open to negotiation on anything, mate. You can never say no to anything because you never know what comes from it. So
that's it. That's exactly right. That's very good life advice. And be careful what you say to people because you never know, they might be your boss one day.
Very true.
Always be nice.
Very true.
Polite and kind.
Yeah,
cool.
Try to be.
Right.
Try to be.
Very, very enjoyable having you. Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you out on track in the future.
Absolutely, mate.
And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
We will, mate. Cheers. Thanks everyone.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a comment down below. If there's anyone in Tasmania Motorsport that you'd like to see be on my podcast, share this with them and tag them, or put me in touch with them if you know them. And we'll see where we can take this podcast, and big time for the future.
Absolutely.
Cheers. See you later.
Cheers.